Mom, is it true you had another family before us? Emma's voice trembled as she stood in my doorway, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. My heart stopped. At 15, my daughter had never looked at me with such uncertainty, such distrust. I'm Catherine Mitchell, 42, and that moment marked the beginning of my family's unraveling. I should have known Amanda, my sister-in-law, would eventually find a way to destroy the careful peace I'd built over the last 17 years. Who told you that? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Emma's eyes darted to her phone, then back to me. Aunt Amanda showed me pictures. She said you abandoned your first husband and kids, that you just disappeared one day. Her voice cracked. She said it's in your nature to leave when things get hard. The room felt suddenly airless. Amanda had finally done it, found the perfect weapon to hurt me where it would cause the most damage, my relationship with my daughter. Emma, sweetheart, that's not. I started, but she cut me off. Don't lie to me. She thrust her phone forward, showing me what looked like old photographs. Aunt Amanda has proof. She showed me everything. I recognized those photos. They weren't what Amanda claimed they were. But how could I explain the complex truth to a teenager who'd already decided I was guilty? How could I defend myself against a carefully crafted narrative designed to destroy me? I need time to process this, Emma whispered, backing away. I'm staying at Aunt Amanda's tonight. She said I could. Of course she did. Amanda had been laying this trap for years, slowly positioning herself as Emma's confidant, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. I watched helplessly as my daughter grabbed her pre-packed overnight bag. Amanda had planned this well and headed for the door. Emma, please. I called after her. Dad already said it's okay, she shot back, not even turning around. The door slammed behind her, the sound echoing through our suddenly empty house. I sank onto my bed, my hands shaking as I pulled out my phone to call my husband David. He answered on the first ring. Kathy, I can explain. You knew about this? My voice was barely a whisper. You gave Amanda permission to take our daughter. She showed me the photos too, David said, his voice uncertain. Kathy, why did you ever tell me about your past? About your first family? I closed my eyes, fighting back tears of frustration. Because there is no first family, David. Those photos aren't what Amanda claims they are. She's twisting everything like she always has. Then explain it to me, he demanded. Because right now, the evidence. Evidence? I laughed bitterly. You mean carefully selected photos without context? Stories Amanda's crafted to fit her narrative? You've known me for 20 years, David. Known me, loved me, built a life with me. How can you suddenly believe I'm capable of abandoning children? The silence on his end was deafening. I need to go, I said finally. I need to figure out how to fix this before Amanda does any more damage. I hung up before he could respond, my mind already racing through possibilities. Amanda had been waiting years for this moment, collecting pieces of my past like ammunition, twisting them to serve her purpose. She'd never forgiven me for marrying her brother, for stealing him away as she saw it. In her mind, I'd broken up their perfect sibling relationship. But those photos, I knew exactly where they'd come from. My grandmother's old albums, the ones that had disappeared during her move to the nursing home 3 years ago. I'd always suspected Amanda had taken them, but I couldn't prove it. Now I knew why. I drove to my grandmother's nursing home that evening, hoping against hope that she was having one of her clear days. At 92, Gran's memory came and went, but when it came to the past, especially the painful parts, she remained remarkably lucid. Catherine, she smiled as I entered her room. You look troubled, dear. I sat beside her bed, taking her fragile hand in mine. Gran, do you remember your old photo albums? The ones that went missing during your move? Her eyes sharpened. Amanda took them. Said she was keeping them safe, but I never trusted that girl. Too much like her mother, always twisting things to suit her stories. The photos from 1997. I said carefully. The ones with the children. Ah, Gran's grip tightened on my hand. So she's finally done it. Used those against you, has she? Those poor foster children you helped with during your college volunteer work. I always wondered if Amanda would try to use them somehow. Tears filled my eyes. She told Emma they were my abandoned children, that I had a whole other family I left behind. Gran's face darkened with anger. That spiteful girl. She knows very well those children were part of the foster care program you volunteered with. 3 months you spent that summer, helping those kids adjust to their new homes. It was one of the reasons I was so proud of you. Why I knew you'd make a wonderful mother someday. Emma won't believe me, I whispered. Amanda's had years to poison her mind to build up this story. And now David's doubting me too. Then perhaps, Gran said, reaching for her bedside drawer with shaking hands, it's time I gave you this. She pulled out an old leather-bound diary, its pages yellowed with age. I've been saving it, waiting for the right moment. Amanda doesn't know about this one. It was hidden in my special box. It's my diary from that summer. Every entry about your volunteer work, about those children, about the wonderful thing you were doing. And more importantly, she paused, her eyes glinting, it contains the truth about Amanda's own past, about what she did to her own family when David chose you over her manipulations. I took the diary with trembling hands, understanding dawning. Gran, are you saying? She nodded slowly. Read it carefully, dear. Sometimes the best defense against lies is the simple, unvarnished truth. Amanda's been spinning stories for so long, she's forgotten that some of us remember what really happened. As I left the nursing home that evening, diary clutched to my chest, I felt a glimmer of hope. Amanda had spent years building her web of lies, but she'd forgotten one crucial detail. The truth has a way of surviving, hidden in unexpected places, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Now I just had to figure out how to use it to save my relationship with my daughter before Amanda's poison spread any deeper. The diary sat open on my kitchen table, its pages revealing truths I'd almost forgotten. I'd spent the entire night reading, each entry bringing back memories both beautiful and painful. But it was the entries from September 1999 that made my hands shake, the real story of why Amanda hated me so much. My phone buzzed with another text from Emma. Don't try to contact me. I need space to process everything. Followed immediately by one from Amanda. She's safe with me. Unlike some people, I don't abandon family. The irony of that message made me want to scream. I flipped to the relevant diary entry, reading Gran's neat handwriting again. September 15, 1999. Amanda's actions today have torn this family apart. After David announced his engagement to Catherine, Amanda emptied their joint business account, $50,000 that David had saved for their family store's expansion. She left nothing but a note saying you chose her over family. David is devastated. Their parents are in shock. Yet somehow, she's convinced everyone it's Catherine's fault, claiming the money was rightfully hers. I remembered that day clearly. David and I had just announced our engagement, and Amanda had seemed surprisingly supportive. We didn't know then that she'd already set her plan in motion, systematically withdrawing money from the business account she shared with David, preparing to punish him for choosing me. The store, their parents' legacy, had nearly gone bankrupt. David had worked extra jobs for 2 years to save it, while Amanda started her new life in Colorado, playing the victim and sending poisonous letters home about how I'd stolen her brother. A knock at my door startled me from my memories. It was David, looking exhausted. Can we talk? He asked, his voice rough. Emma's messages are getting more upset. She's saying she wants to live with Amanda permanently. I let him in, leading him to the kitchen where Gran's diary lay open. Before we talk about Emma, there's something you need to see. He sat down heavily, picking up the diary. What is this? Your grandmother's diary. The one she kept during everything that happened. Read the September entries. I watched his face as he read, saw the old pain resurface as he remembered the betrayal he tried so hard to forget. I'd almost convinced myself I was remembering it wrong, he said finally. Amanda's told her version so many times. That's what she does, I said quietly. She twists the truth until even we doubt our own memories, and now she's doing it to Emma. David continued reading, his face growing darker with each page. There's more here, about Amanda's first marriage. I didn't even know she was married before Greg. I nodded. Keep reading. The entry he'd reached was from 2001, 2 years after Amanda had left with the money. Gran had kept tabs on her through family connections. Amanda's husband Thomas filed for divorce today. He discovered she'd been lying about her past, claiming her brother had stolen her inheritance and forced her out of the family business. She'd used this story to convince Thomas to invest his savings in her new venture. When he learned the truth, she disappeared with his money too. Just like with David. David looked up, his face pale. She did the same thing to her first husband. Why didn't anyone tell me? Because she convinced everyone it was all lies spread by her jealous ex, just like she convinced them I was the reason she took your money. And now she's using those foster children photos to create another lie, making Emma believe I abandoned a family. David ran his hands through his hair, frustration evident. But why now? Why target Emma after all these years? I pulled out my laptop, opening my email. Because of this. 2 months ago, your parents updated their will. They're leaving the family store to Emma when she turns 25. Amanda found out last week. Understanding dawned on David's face. She's turning Emma against you, so she can influence her, I finished. She's playing the loving aunt, the only one telling Emma the truth about her mother. And when Emma inherits the store, Amanda will have another chance to get what she thinks she deserves, David said bitterly. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Emma. Aunt Amanda showed me more proof. Pictures of you with your other daughter. How could you never tell me I had a sister? I showed David the message. The foster girl from the summer program. Her name was Lucy. She was 6 years old and had just lost her mother. I spent 3 months helping her adjust to her new foster family. Amanda's turned it into another weapon. David stood up abruptly. We need to get Emma away from her. Now that we know what she's doing. No, I said firmly. If we try to force Emma home, it'll only prove Amanda's lies about me being controlling. We need to be smarter than that. I picked up Gran's diary again, turning to the final pages. Gran wrote something else here, something about Amanda's pattern. She doesn't just tell lies, she creates elaborate stories using pieces of truth, photos without context, real documents twisted to fit her narrative. But she always makes one mistake. What's that? She gets overconfident. She pushes too far, adds too many details until her lies collapse under their own weight. I smiled grimly. And according to Emma's last few messages, Amanda's been adding a lot of details to my supposed abandoned family story. I opened my laptop again, pulling up old records from my college volunteer program. It's time to let Amanda hang herself with her own lies. But first, we need to talk to someone else. Who? Lucy Peterson. That little girl in the photos. She's 28 now, working as a social worker in Seattle. I found her on LinkedIn last night, and guess what? She remembers everything about that summer, including all the photos Amanda's been using to manipulate Emma. David sat back down, hope flickering in his eyes. What's your plan? First, we document everything. Every lie Amanda's told, every twisted story, every manipulated photo. Then we wait. Wait for what? I showed him Amanda's latest social media post, a long detailed story about how she was supporting her niece through the traumatic discovery of her mother's past, complete with carefully edited photos and vague references to my other family. We wait for her to make it all public, to commit fully to her lies, because once she does, I held up Gran's diary, we can show everyone, especially Emma, exactly how history is repeating itself. David reached for my hand, squeezing it tightly. I should have seen it sooner, should have remembered what she's capable of. We all wanted to believe she changed, I said softly, but now she's targeted our daughter, and that's something I won't forgive. As if on cue, another social media notification popped up. Amanda announcing a special family dinner for tomorrow night, where she promised all truths will be revealed. I smiled grimly. Perfect, she's setting the stage for her own undoing. Little did Amanda know she wasn't the only one with old records and revealing documents. Sometimes, the best way to fight a carefully constructed lie is with simple, unvarnished truth, and I had 17 years worth of it ready to deploy. The family dinner at Amanda's house felt like walking into a carefully orchestrated trap. The table was set perfectly, photos strategically placed on the sideboard, images from my volunteer summer, arranged to look like a family timeline. Emma sat beside Amanda, barely meeting my eyes as David and I entered. But Amanda hadn't noticed the small recorder in my pocket or the fact that Lucy Peterson was waiting at a nearby hotel, ready with notarized statements and original photographs from that summer. Most importantly, she hadn't noticed Gran's diary in my purse. Welcome, Amanda smiled, all warmth and concern. I thought it was time we all talked openly about everything. Emma deserves to know her full family history. I took my seat, noting how she positioned everyone. Emma far from me, closest to her. David's parents sat looking uncomfortable, clearly unsure about this whole situation. They'd arrived early at my request, armed with the truth about their daughter's past actions. Yes, I agreed calmly. Let's talk about family history. Amanda's smile faltered slightly at my tone, but recovered quickly. Emma, sweetie, why don't you show everyone those photos we found? Emma pulled out a stack of pictures, her hands trembling slightly. These are Mom with her other daughter, and her first husband. I waited as the photos were passed around. Pictures of me with Lucy, with other foster children, with the program coordinators. Amanda had carefully removed anything identifying them as part of a volunteer program. Actually, I said quietly, why don't we start with a different story? One from September 1999. Amanda's head snapped up, her eyes narrowing. That's not relevant, oh. It's very relevant, David's father interrupted, finally finding his voice. We should have told this story long ago. I opened Grant's diary, but before I could read, Amanda stood up abruptly. This is about Catherine's abandoned family, not ancient history. There is no abandoned family, I said firmly, pulling out my phone. Lucy, would you like to join us? The door opened and Lucy Peterson walked in, now a confident young woman but with the same bright eyes I remember from that summer. Amanda's face went pale. Hi everyone, Lucy smiled. I'm Lucy Peterson, and 22 years ago, I was a 6-year-old foster child who had just lost her mother. Catherine was my summer program volunteer, helping me adjust to my new foster family. Emma's head jerked up, confusion crossing her face. But, Aunt Amanda said. Your Aunt Amanda lied, Lucy said gently. She took photos from a volunteer program and created a false narrative. I still have all the original documentation, including the program certificates and group photos with dates and titles. Amanda tried to interrupt, but David's mother spoke first. Just like you lied about why you took the money from the store, Amanda. Just like you lied to Thomas. Mom. Amanda's voice rose. You promised never to mention. I opened Grant's diary, finding the marked page. September 15, 1999. I read aloud. Amanda's actions today have torn this family apart. As I read Grant's account of Amanda's theft, her manipulation, her calculated destruction of her brother's business, Emma's face changed from confusion to shock to anger. You told me Mom was the one who ruined the family business, she whispered, turning to Amanda. You said she turned everyone against you. I was protecting you, Amanda insisted. You needed to know what she's capable of. What you're capable of, you mean? Lucy interjected, laying out official documents from the volunteer program. These are all the original photos, with dates and context. Catherine spent that summer helping children in crisis. She didn't abandon anyone. She helped us find stability. Emma's hands shook as she compared the original photos with Amanda's edited versions. You cropped out the program logo. You deleted the group photos. You lied to me. Emma, sweetheart, Amanda reached for her, but Emma jerked away. Don't touch me. You made me doubt my mom. You made me say horrible things to her. I wanted to go to my daughter, but I knew she needed to process this herself. Instead, I pulled out one final document, Amanda's recent bank statements obtained legally through David's parents. Would you like to tell everyone why you suddenly took such an interest in Emma's relationship with me? I asked quietly. Or should we discuss the timing of your lies in relation to the update of the family store's inheritance? The room went silent, Amanda's face contorted with rage. You had no right. We had every right, David's father cut in. The store is our legacy. We've watched you try to destroy it twice before. First with David's money, then with Thomas's. We won't let you manipulate Emma into giving you control when she inherits. Emma stood up, tears streaming down her face. You used me. You made me hate my mom because you wanted the store. Emma, no, I love you. Amanda started. Stop lying, Emma shouted. You've been lying to me for weeks. About Mom, about the photos, about everything. She ran to me then, falling into my arms like she used to when she was small. Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I believed her. I held her close, feeling her tears soak into my shoulder. It's okay, baby. Her lies were very convincing. She's had lots of practice. Amanda made one last attempt. Everything I did was for this family. No, David said firmly, standing. Everything you did was for yourself. And now you've lost the last bit of trust anyone in this family had in you. We left Amanda sitting alone at her perfect dinner table, surrounded by her manipulated photos and exposed lies. Emma didn't look back as we walked out, her hand clutched tightly in mine. That night, as Emma, David, and I sat in our living room, beginning the process of healing, Emma asked to read Grant's diary. "I want to understand everything," she said. "No more secrets, no more lies." I handed her the diary, watching as she read the full history of her aunt's manipulations, her father's struggle to save the family business, and the truth about that volunteer summer that had been twisted into a weapon against us. "You know what really shows the difference between you and Aunt Amanda?" Emma said finally, looking up at me. "These diary entries about the foster program. You never told anyone about helping those kids. You never used it to make yourself look good. You just did it because it was right." I hugged her close, grateful for my daughter's wisdom. Sometimes the truth doesn't need embellishment or manipulation. It just needs time to come to light. Later, I found a new text from Lucy. "Thank you for that, Summer. You showed me what a real mother's love looks like. Emma is lucky to have you." I smiled, thinking how Amanda's attempt to destroy my relationship with my daughter had instead made it stronger, built on a foundation of truth rather than carefully constructed lies. Sometimes, the best revenge against manipulation isn't more manipulation. It's simply letting the truth speak for itself.